Sunday, 4th of May, Club Grubbery. Uh, Election hangover, Johnny.
Yeah, election hangover, Hoodie. There wouldn't have been enough alcohol in Australia to consume last night, would there, after that result?
Man, oh man. Bit of a shocker, wasn't it?
Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. But I think in fairness, I think we had a gut feeling that was going to be the case.
Hmm.
It seemed to be where everything was pointing. Joel Jamal had called it 6 months ago, hadn't he?
He did. He did indeed. And, it's this whole thing's pretty fickle, but I must admit it was a bigger fall than I thought it would be.
Mm, mm, mm.
So, where do we go with it, mate? Where are we standing at the moment from what you're seeing?
Well, I think people would be pretty despondent today. I think uh, it's a shocker, really, and I can understand people being really disillusioned. I mean, the economy's buggered. Uh, People can't afford to eat.
Hmm.
They're sleeping under bridges, as we saw last week. Woody, they're having their last, their goods removed and thrown in the bin. I mean, this is the Australia under Albanese in 2025, and it's an absolute shock to me that people have endorsed him for another 3 years. But I think that just goes to show just how weak a country we've become, and people just seem to love communism.
Yeah, look, true. And I've been thinking today how I don't think it's productive to have compulsory voting.
Mm,
Because I watched some interviews on the street, some Vox Populi going on, especially with a lot of youth.
yeah,
Uh, who are you going to vote for? Oh, I don't know. I might go the Greens. Oh, you're going to vote for Liberal? No, I think I'll vote for Albanese. Why? Because Dutton's bald. Um, stuff like that. I mean, we're forcing a lot of people who've got no interest and no idea and no education to vote in something that they have no idea about. And I'm sure a lot of that, I mean, people are just going to go, oh, we'll stick with Labor, we'll go with the Greens because they're all about conservation. Nobody knows.
no.
Nobody understands. And, but what have we got? What have we ended up with? 3 more years of, at least 3 more years of Labor. And some are saying that it is such a devastating loss for the Liberal Party that they'll probably win the next one as well because the Liberal Party aren't going to bounce back. And to be honest, look, it's just my opinion, John, but I think the Liberal Party's gone. I think it's finished.
Yeah, well, George Christensen wrote a good piece today, and we're going to have him on the show next week. Let's hope. But I think what he says is right. I think the Liberal Party, they went about destroying themselves from within. They didn't want to win.
No.
They threw it away. They were in front. They were saying all the right things, and then Dutton's had the skates pulled from under him, and here we are. I mean, those that know Peter Dutton, and I know a few people that know him, say that he is uh, uh, a very decent guy, and I think he would have made a good fist of it had he been given an opportunity. But look, I think the problem is, Hoodie, that the wokes and the moderates and the people controlled by the left, the Michael Photius faction in the Liberal Party, in my opinion, are tearing it apart. And that's why people like John Ruddock, Ross Cameron, just to name a couple, of obviously Matt Camanzuli. I mean, these are all people that were, hardcore liberals. I mean, they're out and they're not alone. I mean, the mum and dad voters, the people that look at Jared Rennick, another one. So it's fallen to bits.
It is, yeah. And you've got to look at what's left inside the Liberal Party. There's nothing there other than Alexandric in South Australia.
Mm,
There's nothing there. I don't see anything there to build on,
mm,
and it's going to take them so long to build on that. I mean, look, there are a lot of people. I've been getting messages all day, and you probably have too, from fairly influential people, people like Adrian McRae, for example. We've been chatting a bit, and he's saying, look, this is a great result because Australia needs to have this kick in the butt in order to wake itself up. And the sooner we bring it on, the better. And I tend to agree. There's a lot of people saying that. Joel Jamal saying that, and a lot of others as well in the know are saying that. And even some of the senators who are struggling to hang on to their seats at the moment are saying it's like we have to go down this path.
Mm,
We've had it too easy in this country for too long. And so it's like, well, let's get it over and done with and bring it on. The pendulum swung one way. We've got to wait for it to come back the other way. And Adrian's going to come onto the program probably next week, and we'll have a chat to him as well, and Joel Jamal. So, look, a lot of scrutineers have been contacting me saying they were looking for irregularities and couldn't find any. And my personal belief, and I put out a video a few hours ago, John, and it's already had 47,000 views and 1,100 comments. And I don't know whether you saw it or not yet, but I just talked about, we've got to accept what we've got. What it is what it is. Now, whether it was fraudulent or not, I think the fraudulent part of it is the way the mainstream media have been reporting on all these issues for decades. I think the mainstream media are the complicit ones. They play the game with the political elite, and I think they've got to come down. I think we've got to bring our mainstream media to its knees.
mm. Well, I agree, Hoodie. Look, I don't think it. I may be wrong. Look, I don't think it's fraudulent at all. I think they played to an audience. The Labor Party has said that they're going to reduce the HEX fees by 20%. I mean, so immediately they're canvassing the younger people.
Yeah.
They've they'd be attracting all the people who are on welfare, and there's a lot of people on welfare.
Mm.
Let's not kid ourselves. So they know where to find a vote. I mean, immigration. I mean, it, I saw a picture. Look, I know this will sound racist, but Tony Burke, another one of the blokes that you wouldn't feed. Here he was in front of his election place in Sydney at some party. And I tell you, there was not, I mean, I'm not saying this to be racist. There was not one person standing behind him that looked as though they were from Australia. Uh, so, I mean, this is the same bloke that signed up thousands of immigrants in one day and had the election people there to tell them how to vote and tell them they must vote. So once again, I think that was a key issue, immigration. I mean, the amount of immigrants we've got in this country now. I mean, they obviously are keen for the floodgates to continue to expand, to bring all their families and everyone else here. So I don't know.
It's bizarre.
Not.
Look, Jared Rennick, text from him earlier today saying he's going to be struggling to hang on.
Mm,
And Malcolm Roberts is fairly confident. Joel Jamal saying One Nation polling reasonably well. Thank goodness for that. But let's look at trumpeter patriots. Now let's be really fair dinkum, John. There's been a lot of disruption on this side of the camp during the campaign. Some last minute stuff that happened. We've already talked about that. We'll talk about that more in depth probably later in the week. But Clive Palmer.
mm.
I mean, every election he comes in what seems to be a last minute attempt to throw a hand grenade into the works. And I've got to say, the minute I heard the name of his new party, Trumpeted Patriots, I cringed. I mean, for goodness sake, what's going on there?
Oh, well, look, I've got no idea, Hoodie. Look, I think it's more about Clive than anything. I mean, Rod Cullerton said that he offered him funds to take on his party. I mean, he was obviously very desperate at the end to get a party. Trumpeter Patriots was registered. I think it would probably just what he saw as the last opportunity to be involved in the election. But once again, I think. There needs to be some cool heads here, and let's have a post-mortem of if he wants to get involved in things. Look, I think he's better off getting involved in taking out advertisements in the mainstream media or in regional media about the problems that are associated with mRNA vaccines, because I mean, here we are. We are now in a situation where Mark Butler already signing up to these international health treaties. The WHO now has got a real foot in the door in Australia. I mean, I don't know how you stop them now. Uh, I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that with all, I mean, the whole talk, Hoodie, over the last month has been, oh, the next pandemic's on the way. Deadly diseases, measles is, killing thousands. I mean, all just complete nonsense, more hype, rubbish. But once again, the fear campaigns are starting. I think it's only a matter of time before we have another one of these pandemics, lockdowns, and the WHO will come in, and we know that they can essentially lock us down. They can lock us down, and they can force vaccinate. I mean, it's already in the Western Australian legislation allegedly. So it's definitely in the WHO's remit because we hand over the powers now to the WHO in a pandemic. So under Labor, we're going to get more than we bargained for. It's not just a case of them tinkering around, social engineering around a few bits and pieces. I mean, this is absolutely serious stuff. This is like Nazi Germany.
That really is, and you wrote an excellent piece that you tweeted yesterday, and it was put on my page. It's had, I think, over 1,000 comments as well, John, and you summed it up very well. And the truth is that when you think about the main British Commonwealth countries,
Mm,
including the UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, they've all gone communist.
yeah.
The Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth, is now a Commonwealth of communism.
Yeah.
And we've got to realise that now. Okay, so what do we do about it? Everyone's getting angry. Everyone's getting upset. Rightfully so. You're disappointed. You can't believe what you perceive to be the stupidity of the people who live in this country with you, and it's hard to argue with that. However, the judgment has been made. Now, there are some people who say that we should be, that the Governor General should sack the politician, should sack the government. John, what are the chances of them doing that, given that the governors and the Governor General are all elected by the political party in power?
Zilch, Hoodie. I think the pushback has to come from hopefully the Senate. I'm still hopeful that there may well be some numbers in the Senate which allow for common sense. Let's hope that is the case. I mean, we've still got Alex Antic in there. We've potentially got Malcolm Roberts. It sounds like Senator Gerard Rennick's an outside chance, but let's just see where those cards fall. Hopefully, they fall in favour of common sense. But I think the next big thing, Hoodie, is these international health treaties and regulations with the WHO, and that comes up in July, I think. So that's the next big thing that we've got to fight. And we were able to, uh, stop the misinformation bill. I think we have to do the same thing around this WHO and the pandemic treaties. That to me is that's a bridge too far, and it's the next big thing on our agenda now.
Yeah, and I think what are we going to do with the next 3 years? Well, we have to deal with the World Health Organization. We do in whatever way we can. And you being the chair of the ACA, you're going to be at the spear point of education campaigns. I hope that that's what you guys are going to be doing. I'm pretty sure you will. But the real thing we have a chance to do now is use the next 3 years to prepare properly, really properly. I mean, there needs to be a weeding out of some people who are pushing for change, who are not doing any favours. Some people just need to be starved of oxygen, and that's the truth of the matter. But the thing is that there is an opportunity, and there are some very clever people in the wings at the moment who are talking about building another completely new Conservative Party to step into opposition with a statesman-like leader, and then come out on the other side of this in government, which is what is desperately needed. So, I'm sure there'll be some people coming together. We'll be holding some panel discussions over the next few weeks discussing that because look, everybody's in shock mode. We've got to get past that.
Mm.
these processes are what happens, and the pendulum swings and it comes back the other way, and we've got to get it on the way back.
Well, Hoodie, let's not forget this happened in the UK, uh, and is happening to this day in the UK. Not a dissimilar situation to what we're experiencing in here now. I think Nigel Farage has come out of that as a really a force to be reckoned with in conservative politics over there. Now, he doesn't have the numbers now, but he certainly is attracting the vote and he's unifying the country. That's what we need here. I think we need to, rightly, like you've just pointed out, we need to get into a unity ticket. Everyone basically come down off their high horse for the future of this country and get on the one page, get on the one song sheet, and put the egos aside, so that we can take on these communist bastards and take this country back.
Now that's right. Now there are parties that have been in this fight for 30 odd years, and we're talking about One Nation, for example. Some
Mm,
good people in One Nation, and we know them, we love them, we care about them, and we know that they're doing the best they can. However, um, if they unite with some of the other parties, they could really kick some butt. But it means having to put, the ego around the party to one side, and this is what all the parties have to do.
exactly.
Um, I can't see Jared Rennick getting out of politics if he loses this election. Not now that he's started People First. I don't know, but my gut feeling is that's probably that's the party that's going to form the catalyst of whatever gets built out of this, that rises out of the ashes of this electoral defeat.
Mm,
Um, and we have a golden opportunity to get together. Now, we may get to a stage in the coming months where we see a great advantage in joining someone like People First en masse. Or if it's to be One Nation, then One Nation en masse, so long as there's an influence within those parties to get them to drop their high horses and get on board with the other parties and really make something that's conservatively powerful.
mm, mm.
Because the Liberals are stuffed, and Alex Sandick is wasted in the Liberal Party now.
Right.
He
Yeah.
he needs to get out of there. He needs to really consider his options and get out of there, um, because he's a talent wasted in there. He really is. He's got to get into the lower house for a start. But the people I've spoken to, John, are fed up with all the factions in these major parties.
Mm, mm,
I mean, if you're a left wing faction of the member of the left wing faction of the Liberal Party, get out and join Labor.
mm,
You don't
mm,
want left wing, centre left, and then right wing faction groups in these parties. We just want you're either in conservative opposition at the moment or conservative government, and you're not the other way. So something's got to change.
yeah.
The whole democratic system we live under, the whole system is completely stuffed, and
Mm.
party politics is just an absolute disaster. But we've got to do something.
Well,
People,
look, it tells you everything, Hoodie. Apparently, Christopher Pine last night on one of the commentary channels said that the Liberal Party had lurched too far to the right. I don't know if that's correct. I didn't hear him say that, but somebody rang me today and told me that. I mean, what planet are they on if they think they've leaned too much to the right? I mean,
well, is
is
it
it?
because the left's gone so far left that if you're anywhere right of centre, that you're deemed too far right? It's just bizarre. It's bizarre. But Christopher Pine's a tool anyway. Let's be honest.
That's exactly right. Yeah, yeah, shockers.
Like
I
we're
mean,
stuck with Blackout Bowen, are we?
seems that way. I looked at some of the results there last night, and it looked as though Matt Camanzuli had even got past the green. So I mean, yet to see with preferences. That was just a very early count. But yeah, I mean, considering that the polling was suggesting that he was ahead in that electorate, there's been a massive turnaround there, or the poll was just another media beat up.
Yeah, well, some commentators saying to me that also Craig Kelly looks like he's down for the count,
Yeah.
which is tragic. That's a tragic loss because he's an Aussie fighter, is Craig Kelly. Like him or loathe him, he's always spoken common sense on our program, and he's a real fighter, and whatever Craig decides to do next is going to be very interesting. As a lot of the pundits, I wonder what sort of cushy job Dutton will get. Perhaps he'll join ScoMo on the AUKUS project.
Wow. Yeah, well, I had to laugh last night when they were talking about it. I mean, they were talking Dutton up and saying, what a great contributor he'd been to public life. I mean, let's just analyze that for 30 seconds. I mean, these people have had a privileged life. I don't care what anyone bloody says. I mean, if you spoke to Russell Broadbent and asked him that question, I mean, he would tell you that he was very lucky to be appointed so many times to the seat of Monash, and it was an absolute honour. But I mean, they're well paid. I mean, when you look at the wages in comparison to the general population. They receive very good superannuation. They get very good allowances and perks in office. So generally after they retire or move on, they're looked after in the private sector very well. So. I mean, let's not get the violin out for Dutton and say that the poor bastard's doing it tough. I mean, they've got to be joking. I think of people like David Kotzios, that was a paramedic for 45 years, didn't even get a send off, didn't even get a phone call from any of the management at New South Wales Ambulance to say thanks for your 45-year service, seeing the worst of the worst and helping people in their most critical time over 45 years.
Yeah.
Not even a thank you. I mean, so yeah, I'm sorry. That frustrates me a great deal when I hear them talk about the service of these people that have been thrown out by their electorates. They should be counting themselves very lucky that they had the opportunity to represent the Australian people. And in the case of somebody like Russell Broadbent, do something very, very positive and legacy leaving um, at the end of it. Not too many of them can say that, Hoodie.
Yeah, and interesting to see what Russell's going to do. I'm sure he'll give us an interview in the dust settles. Both of us spoke with Tanya Danock last night. She's going off to have a week's well-deserved sleep, I think, is what she's saying. What's her future? Well, she's an amazing lady. She's very intuitive, and who knows where it's going to go for her. At the moment, she doesn't have a job because Russell's out, but that won't last for too long. And then we have the likes of Sue Ellen Wrightson with Trumpeter Patriots. Where does she stand now? What's going to happen with her? Where will this all lead? There's another really good politically savvy player who got caught up in all the hype of the Trump mania that seemed to grip Clive at the time. Um, and Babbitt, what do we know about Babbitt?
Mm. Yeah, well, I suppose all these questions will be raised and answered in the next few weeks when all the dust settles. But yeah, there's definitely some very good people that have been, left out in the wilderness. I mean, Tanya Danock, Dr. Julie Sladden. I mean, these are people that have fought day and night for people with vaccine injuries and numerous other issues in the community. I mean, what worries me more than anything, Hoodie, is that these people could now be voiceless. I'm just not sure, in the parliament that under those that are elected, except for maybe Alex Antic and Malcolm Roberts, that is there anyone left there beyond those two that is going to, be a champion for these people?
And Pauline Hanson. It'll be interesting to see how Lee Hanson goes as well.
Mm.
We mentioned the name Ralph Babbitt. I've got to be honest, I'm singularly unimpressed with Ralph Babbitt. I've found him incredibly unimpressive, and we've had a couple of meetings with him, and it's been very lackluster. To be honest with you, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think his heart's in the job.
Mm.
I think he'd rather be selling real estate, but that's just my opinion. I'm entitled to that as much as anyone is. So if you're a Babbitt fan and you want to have a go at me over that, then fill your boots. I mean, that's my own personal experience. I was less than impressed on the several times that I met with him. But he's surrounded by good people. He's got some great people working in his office. And what's going to happen with them? What's going to happen with him? I don't know. There's just so much stuff up in the air at the moment. Now, what we've got to do as Australians is look forward to the next 3 years as an opportunity to do something really strategically well planned. We've got to ride out whatever storm comes. We don't know what's coming. It may be worse than we think. It might be much better than we think. But the thing is, our countrymen have voted, and this is what they've come up with. And we can waste a whole lot of time, um, self-flagellating and carrying on and pointing fingers at people and getting upset. But it is what it is. What's left on the table for you? What can you do? Get involved, get educated. Those people who got together to volunteer for the minor parties around the country, don't lose those links. Start
Mm.
building on them, start forming groups where you can really make some change. And a whole bunch of stuff needs to be done. And eventually there needs to be a constitutional convention in this country to either restore what we've got or weed out what doesn't work in it. Something's got to be done because it hasn't served us for some time because it's been corrupted so much by Labor. So all the issues we're dealing with in this country, John, stem from the Labor Party.
Mm.
They all come from the Labor Party. And now we've got Elmer Fudd as a Prime Minister for the next 3 or maybe even 6 years, heaven forbid.
Oh dear. Yeah. It's a sad ending to where we thought we might have been going. But anyway, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. And we'll know more by the end of next week. And we'll have some interviews lined up for you. In the meantime, you live in Australia. It's a good place to be at the moment. There's a lot of people talking about where else in the world can you emigrate to. El Salvador is pretty good from what I hear. Salvador is good. We're going to try and get Trevor Loudon back on. So we've got Trevor Loudon more than likely. I spoke to him the other day in New York, called him up, and he's very keen to come back on with us, especially now that the result's in.
Yep.
You've lined up George Christensen. We're still trying to get Bob Catter. It'd be great to get you on, Bob, to come on. And Joel Jamal will give a fairly comprehensive update at the end of the week. I'm sure he's promised he'll come on and do that. So, excuse me, you may not have a voice in Parliament, but while ever we can control our throats, Johnny, we will be the voice for these people who watch us. Eh?
Definitely. And if we can, we'll try and see if we can tee up Senator Ron Johnston again from the US. I think that'd be a great interview to find out where Trump is in relation, and RFK in relation to a lot of these uh, hopes on the vaccines, etc.
Yeah,
We haven't seen a lot there, and I think we need to start asking some questions.
absolutely. And if we're going to play the party political game in this country for another 3 or 6 years, then let's get a really good Conservative Party
Mm.
going. And Jared Rennick's got the age on his side. He's definitely got a good following. And he's got the nous, he's got the runs on the board, he's got the tenacity. And we need statesmen again. We haven't had one for decades, Johnny.
No.
We need statesmen.
No,
So,
and I was glad to see Barnaby Joyce gave him a rap too during the coverage. Said that he was certainly had a great following, and their campaign was well put together. So
yeah, and Barnaby hasn't, he's made a few gaffes along the way, but lately he's been doing and saying some of the right things.
mm.
So he's in my electorate, or I'm in his electorate, I should say. And yeah, so I'm going to probably make an effort to reach out to him in coming weeks. I'll say, hey, remember me? I was a fellow that called you a grub at Canberra outside the press club. I think that'll get his attention. Oh dear. Anyway, Johnny, what else can we talk about? Anything?
Oh, I think they've probably heard enough from us. That's enough prattling on. Yeah, we'll obviously have some great interviews in the coming couple of weeks, analysing what's gone on and where to from here.
That's right. We all have to rethink. Now, you can get your knickers in a twist and say what a load of rubbish and this is all wrong, it's all fraud and all that. You can, and you're entitled to believe that. I don't blame you. There's a lot of stuff that's wrong in the city of Australia. There really is, and it's got to be fixed.
Mm.
But we can either go down that road and just sit there prattling on and gazing at our navels, or we can look for opportunities in the next 3 years to rebuild and really come back as a force. And that's, I reckon, the only thing we can do. Or we can just, we either get busy living, John, or we get busy dying.
Yeah.
So the ball's in our court, Australia, and let's close with a prayer. Lord Father in heaven, we thank you that those of us who believe in you know that you are still in control, and what is happening, there'll be a reason for that, and it'll be a reason that you well know in advance. So, Lord, give us the courage, strength, and wisdom to do the right thing, to do the right thing compassionately, and with the love of country, but the love of God in our hearts, that we may love our brothers and sisters regardless of their views of us. There's too much division in this country, Father God, and it's clearly a battle between good and evil, and we know where we stand. We choose today where we stand, and it's in the light. So God be with us all, Father. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Johnny, you've often been heard to say
You just couldn't make this stuff up?
you couldn't make yesterday up. Very, very interesting. Be kind to each other, Australia. Don't forget, we're just voicing an opinion. You don't have to agree with us. That's fine. But let's get on with the job and see what we can pull out of the ashes. God bless you all. Stay out of the trees. It's a great country because you live in it. Bye for now.